when secret society members carry their Bible around, it's not because they believe the Bible to be a religious manual. Instead, they believe it to be a coding manual, and that's why they're placed in hotels, so when they're out of town and they get a secret message, they could look up, say, Luke chapter 2, verses 48 to 49, which would suggest that they have to be about the work assigned to them by a power higher than they are, and get to it. Neanderthals became jealous of clan mothers. And in their jealousy, they began to plan a war against women. Now, there is no evidence on the planet that I have been able to locate that suggests that full-blown war was ever contemplated until about 10,000 BC, which is at the end of the last ice age. And yet the problems with the Neanderthals and the humans had begun to surface at about 59,000, 5,800, 800 BC, and evolved into full-blown hatred by the Neanderthals of the clan mothers by a period of about 40,000 BC, and a decision to do something about it was made at a time somewhere between 30 and 25,000 BC. Serious decision, but that required changes to occur to the Neanderthaler themselves. The coding suggests that over time, an evolution of knowledge occurred among Neanderthalers at a rate much faster than that acquired by human beings. And the suggestion that comes through intuition and the coding structure is that a computer in the form of human beings was assembled. Now, this may sound a little strange, and I'm not asking anyone to believe me without doing any research of your own, but how I have been able to view this in a more modern fashion is by looking at a vehicle, a motor vehicle, and seeing the distributor cap function and how it connects together the activity of 8 different cylinders, making it possible to cause one cylinder to go down while another one goes up, and everything done in sequence allows more power to be developed than could be developed by any other method. They might tell you that it has 800 horsepower, for example, this motor. So there is a a cumulative effect of being able to interconnect into a single center the power generated by the individual activities of a cylinder. Going back to the Neanderthaler, and the fact we know that they had a very significant number of idiot savants, one should try to imagine the creation of a chemical computer that was able to link to the savant part of a brain while ignoring the idiot part of the brain. And if you could do that with significant numbers, the number suggested is 144,000 savant sections into one place, you might be able to develop a computer way beyond what we know today. It's significant that in the genome, the numbers 125 to 145,000 suggest the total instructions that are involved with DNA, the genes. And the genome is designed to name each one and identify their very basic and specific purposes and how they come together and how few of them are used in making a human being function, for example. Figures that I've been told are that although there are over 100,000 different instructions in DNA form, a human being, a single human being, operates with 25,000 of these instructions. So think of yourselves as being made up of 25,000 information bits, of which you in fact only need maybe 3,000 or 4,000 to function, and the others are in reserve and not basically being used today. It's a long story, genetic engineering, and I can't stop at this moment in time to identify everything that is possible in that stage. But let me just try to describe how the Neanderthaler would have made their way to that place. They were living in mines. Their mines were the result of having found minerals in the caves that they habitated in. And as mineralogy became known, and it would have to be known when one would develop the next stage away from stone into a metal head for an arrow or a spear, for example. And some metals would prove to be more flexible and easier to manage. Metallurgy was probably the first industrial activity that developed while Neanderthalers lived in caves, whether it be in France, in Germany, in the Middle East, or the original caves in Somalia.